Hi, Jules Cruise Companion. Just recently I went on Carnival Splendor from Sydney to Morton Island on a 4-night cruise. So this is a video with the outside deck type area. I didn't get much footage, but some is better than none to give you an idea about what you will expect when you sail on Carnival Splendor. This post-Panamax beauty is the Carnival Splendor, created in 2007 in Genoa in Italy. It was christened in 2008. She was originally designed as a Concordia class ship, but as history has well demonstrated to us, Costa did not do well with Costa Concordia. So she was transferred to the Carnival group in 2008 when she became Carnival Splendor. I know I said I would show you the outside deck, but here is the inside deck. But if you can see over the top of this pool, you can see on the Lido deck there is a cover, a retractable roof. So in theory, this is potentially an outside deck. Being created for the European market, having an inside pool with a reclining roof or a retracting roof is something that is vitally important. This space has pool, dining area and several restaurants. That retracting roof is one of the features of this magnificent ship. Even though Carnival Splendor has had a checkered history with the fire in 2010 in November, where number 5 diesel generator caught on fire and then she was required to be towed back to San Diego after 4 days. We can Google that. Then 2012 they had Puerto Vallarta where 22 passengers were robbed on a tour, and then there was more engine problems in 2007. I have filmed some of this footage on a very, very stormy night out of Sydney heading to Morton Island. So I've actually left some of the sound because of that roaring sea. It's just the most interesting on the open decks. This is a very traditional cruise ship. The other thing you will note when I am doing these open decks here on this evening footage as compared to the day footage, the gimbal will just keep tilting. The wind was phenomenally blowing, and then I notice as I exit at the other side they say don't go out onto the open deck. So I'm actually traversing deck 11 here, and I'm about to look over Splashy Cove, but I will show you this when I've filmed it during the day, the next day when we were in Morton Island. This is there's some parts of this boat that are just perfectly, traditionally, acceptably designed as a cruise ship, but for Australian waters, she's just not the gem that we deserve here in Australia. So I'm coming up to an open section of the boat where you can actually see the water slides. So there is a complete variation between the traditional design of a water park type Thunderball water slide cruise ship element as opposed to, gimbal. The gimbal is literally being pushed by the wind. And that's the retractable roof, as I've indicated before. That is one of the issues where, because this boat was designed for European waters, allowing that Lido deck space to be usable. Gimbal, my goodness, the wind was just atrocious on this evening. So that retractable roof just protects that Lido pool and makes it habitable for inclement weather. So I'm walking here on, I think, deck 10, which is the slide exit. Of course, there is no deck 13 on Carnival Splendor, with her being a previous Concordia from Costa, it would not be a relatively reasonable thing to do to have a deck 13 on this boat. Look at that amazing green space, which is the vortex on the green slide, which is the more advanced rather than the yellow, which is more gentle incline. Now here we come into what I deem as one of the poorest design features of this boat. Because she is designed for the Northern Hemisphere and there is a lot of blast winds, I think that this is, deck 3, the promenade outside deck. Everything looks like a blast wall. Everything just looks like it is ready for the Arctic blast. And yes, you can promenade along this space, and the windows here to the right are part of, the inside workings of the boat, but blast doors. Nothing on this boat really generates or exudes any of that promenading, walking, enjoying the open space. So as a boat that's been brought down here into the tropics, she's not designed for the Southern Hemisphere. She's a Northern Hemisphere boat where you are going to be blasted by northern winds or Arctic winds, and I'm just going to allow this footage just to continue. For people that are safety minded, this is the deck for evacuation. This is all of the muster stations, A, B on one side and C and D on the other. As I say, everything looks like a blast door. Even when you're inside the boat and you're wanting to go out, you think, oh, I can't traverse that door because it just is so intimidating. You can actually exit out of, for example, the Red Frog Bar, but it just looks so intimidating. So there is a safety pod module there in that little capsule. I'm just crossing the boat here and then I will cruise down the other side. Those pods are evacuation craft. Even though you can walk and can traverse this space, it is so unappealing. There is no seating, there is no any element that would engage someone in the Southern Hemisphere to go, oh, let's go walking and enjoying the day out here on the open decks. So I really think when Carnival made the choice to bring Splendor down here, yes, it was going to make them money. Yes, it was going to be reasonable enough. But genuinely, she is a Northern Hemisphere boat. She is just not crafted or created for the Southern Hemisphere. Yes, there was another deck above this, but I didn't necessarily get an opportunity to film it. But I will make an anticipation that it would be just as bleak and miserable. No seating, no view. And over to the right there is all basically the shops and the restaurants and all that type of thing. So there is lots of activities to do on this deck, just not out here. Okay, super rant over. Now we're at the aft of the boat. We've got twinkly lights to say this is one of the sanctuary spaces. So I've got several different images here of this sanctuary space, this over 18 space that children are not allowed in. Took this footage while we were at Morton, so you can see Morton just glimpsing in the background there. Absolutely fabulous space with cabanas and bars and waiters and attendants. Look at this attendant serving you in the hot tub. Just a fabulous space. And not to be outdone, here is some image on a very wet, rainy day. So from this aft space during the day, you can see this piece of cruise porn. This is what I think is the most amazing thing about cruising. The open ocean, nothing better than a bow wave or a wake view. So a little earlier I teased you that there was going to be some more splash space. Here's the splashy zone. I never actually saw it functioning. This would be on about deck 10 or so, and there's a bit of a running track there. And this was on the day we were at Morton, so we had some beautiful sunshine. Zooming up the stairs here to deck 12, which is the sports zone. Look at that beautiful Morton Island. And here we come, and we get our first view of the fin, the Carnival fluke there, just beautiful. Absolutely the iconic image of Carnival. So there is a bit of a walking path. A beautiful day here at Morton Island in Queensland. There is the Thunderbolt there. The entrance is on level 14 where these slides start. There is no 13. And so that potentially means I'm walking on 12. There's that retractable roof that I've been talking about with being a European designed boat. What I observe here is two slides, like a yellow slide with a gentler gradient and that green slide with that additional vortex. And then you can see the safety officer there assisting the people when they exit the slide. On the open decks and the traditional images here of a cruise ship, there is nothing I have to complain about. It is just the interior Costa Concordia designed by Joe Farkas that I just think really lets this boat down. Okay, cruise porn from my balcony. So a bit of forward image before we head to some aft image. So that was some images of the outside decks of Carnival Splendor. I hope that gives you some idea when you are planning your next cruise and if it happens to be on Splendor. This is Julie Jules Cruise Companion saying stay safe everybody and happy travels.